take it for instance, and let's say we can save $200 or $300 billion in 1 year. Take half of it and put it toward the deficit. That's a tremendous improvement. It would reassure the market. Take the other half and help the people who are taught decade after decade to be dependent on the government. You can't throw the people out on the streets who have retirement benefits and health benefits. We don't have to do that. But in the meantime, if we could save that amount of money, take care of the people in need, and then offer an opportunity to the young people and say, look, if you don't trust government to take care of you in your old age, and you want to go on your own, and you want to have self-reliance, we'll let you get out of this system, out of the medical system. We can't ignore. Some of it has been around for a long time with the federal government. Some of it was not necessary, and it's ever growing. But there's always a fight over the political pie, over who gets the money, who gets to build the bridges. Sometimes they build bridges, they forget some bridges, and they build bridges to nowhere. Who knows how they do it. But what has happened today, though, is we as Americans are being taxed constantly to blow up bridges around the world. And then we're taxed to rebuild the bridges around the world. And I would say, if we could get the people to accept this consensus, save this money, don't blow up those bridges, don't rebuild the bridges, don't spend that money, and start looking at our own bridges at home and rebuild our own bridges. So much opportunity for us, and it is not complex at all. It's found in individual liberty and confidence. We as a country and as a people have lost our confidence that freedom works. Freedom does work. For many years, the constitutionalists, the conservatives and libertarians have not done a good job in grabbing the moral high ground, because too often they have come across as being uncaring and not compassionate enough. And the liberal comes along, the big government person comes along, he says, we're going to take care of you. We're going to give you free medical care and free education and free this. And nobody asks, well, where do you get all this free stuff? They never ask who they stole it from in the first place. So we have this opportunity to offer a solution. And once people realize that freedom is compassionate, you know, sometimes I wonder about this conservative, compassionate conservatism. You know, it's just more big government. Often think about, I've had some debates on the House floor, it had to do with freedom of choice in medicine. Because I'm a states' rights person, and also I believe in freedom of choice in medicine, states have tried to improve their laws by saying people who are dying with cancer and AIDS, they should have the right to use marijuana if it comforts them. That's a state right. But the states passed the law, which should have been their business what to do. The individual should be able to make a freedom of choice and be adult enough to know how to make those choices. But what do we have? We have the compassionate conservatives come in and say, we'll put you in jail if you do that, and they have. And that we don't need any more of. I'll tell you. If you understand how the market works, it's the only system that has provided great prosperity. It has been the marketplace and sound money and freedom of choice and contract and property rights that have uplifted people since the Industrial Revolution. Man has been around for 6,000 years in history and mostly have lived in poverty and tyranny. We've had this grand example of freedom of the marketplace, and we've had such great prosperity. And here we are rejecting those principles, and it's going to dissipate. We're going to lose it, and we have to make the case for the moral defense of freedom and liberty, because it is compassionate. It isn't laissez-faire where you can do anything you want and nothing comes good of it. It means that you have freedom of choice and good things come of it. But of course, there are imperfections in the world. Not everybody's going to be taken care of perfectly. There will not be equality. But if you want to do the maximum amount of good for the maximum number of people, you have to endorse liberty. You know, the real experiment in liberty came with our Constitution. It was the best document, and it was an imperfect document, but it was still the best. And from that came great prosperity and great freedom, and yet in the last 100 years, we have cared more about the material aspects of what we have, always looking to government for redistribution of wealth, never looking to the government for its limited purpose of protecting liberty. And because we have done that, we have lost sight on these key core principles that have made our country great, which are embedded in our traditions, embedded in our Constitution. So to me, it seems rather easy to figure this out. I think we're going to run into a lot of financial problems because I think people who live beyond their means live beneath their means. And individuals, if you have borrowed too much, you have to end up paying the bills when the bank calls your notes due. That happens in a way for our country too. We will be forced to pay some of these bills, just as we did in the 70s, we paid for the 60s. And right now we're paying for the war that is ongoing. But I think our conditions are much worse. Now, if we don't do anything, we don't win this fight, I'll tell you, I think what is going to be very difficult. Things are going to get much, much worse, much more tyranny, and we're going to be much poorer. But if we lose all our wealth, and we're able to put our eye on the target and know what liberty really means, have faith and confidence, and make sure that government is limited to the protection of liberty, I think we'll get up off our feet in no time at all and be as prosperous, if not more prosperous than ever before. The purpose of all government action should be that of protection of liberty. The purpose of liberty is to release the creative energy of each and every one of us. This never should be the striving for perfect equality, because that's unachievable. But in our personal lives, at least this is my personal belief, that our lives should be dedicated to striving for virtue and excellence. But once government takes over that project of promoting virtue and excellence and perfection and democracy around the world with the use of a gun and with force and regulations, it is only done at the expense of liberty, and it doesn't achieve what it was supposed to be achieved. So if virtue and excellence is a good goal, there is only one way it can be achieved, and we were on the right track. We are off that track right now, and what we have to do is bring this country back on track, understand it, have confidence, and fight and defend for the liberties that has made this country great. Thank you very much.
Today to defray the cost of this fantastic rally, but appreciate it. There'll be folks by the door collecting those. I have an announcement to make. Our attendance today, 1,440.